back in action here. UFC Perth, a solid card. The Aussies go hard for their fights. It's probably going to be a sold out crowd over there as we have a possible title eliminator fight. Dominic Reyes coming back to glory, taking on top prospect, top contender, one of them, Carlos Ulberg, coming off of a close decision win against Polish power Jan Blachowicz. But we have a couple fights on this card that are I wouldn't say big for the division or anything for any divisions, but a couple fights that'll answer some questions going forward for some of these younger guys like Tom Nolan or Cam Rowston, Micallef, and there's guys trying to bounce back in their career like Mullarkey, Elliot. Petroski's not bouncing back, but he's still there. But without further ado, it's gonna be me, Hot Hand, with you. Unk's still on vacation, and Mo should be hopping in at some point. But we'll get this one started with the women's fight. We have Lookboonme taking on Alexia Thainara. So we have Thainara, one fight in the UFC if you're not counting Contender Series. Brazilian, decently well rounded. She's 27 years old, 12-1. Made her UFC debut, submitting Molly McCann. So I don't know how highly you value that. I don't really value it that high. But regardless, she's a grapple heavy fighter, but she does have some striking in her game. She usually thrives off scrambling, and her long limbs help her find the back decently easy. She has decent finishing abilities with submissions, and her go-to arm bars or naked chokes. Like I said before, she has good striking, but it's not extremely technical. She's a bit of a wild character. Then you have Lookboonme, first Thai woman that's ever signed to the UFC. She's been there for a while, all the way back since 2019. She has over 300 Muay Thai fights. She's like the Michael Jordan of Muay Thai. We've covered her on a previous episode before in her last fight. Um, she was like a minus 1,000 in that fight, but here she comes in as a plus 200 dog. Uh, her strengths are her clinch game, obviously, with a Thai fighter, elbows, knees, but she has actually worked in her ground game. She's a purple belt in jiu-jitsu, and despite her being 5'1" and having a short reach, she's good at controlling distance, and like I said before, she can close that distance, and she can get takedowns and look for opportunistic submissions. So overall, it's women's action. So I like to stay away from this type of stuff. Loma's gonna have the sharper striking, but I have a feeling that Thainara is gonna be able to use her size to get this one to the mat a couple times on this undersized Lookboonme, and either look for a sub, but I'm not too confident about that since Loma, she's been subbed before, but she has some jujitsu on her accolades, and I don't want to pay the minus 250 for Thainara. She's still young and she's still coming up, but I do think I'm gonna lean her. When I wrote my notes down, there was no sub double chance, sub decision double chance. I'm gonna take a look at that right now, and that's gonna be Thainara by submission / decision is like minus 215 ish range. So I still don't want to pay minus two juice. So with that being said, I think there's some value on Loma here. I don't think the plus 200 up over plus 200 is appropriate. I think this fight a little bit more even, but I think I'm gonna lean Thainara to get the W. How do you feel about this one, Hot Hand?
First Mo is in here, so put him in. But I think Thainara's her wrestling is going to be what's going
I
to make
sent
the
you an
difference.
invite.
I think she's more physical, bigger. I think she's going to be able to implement her wrestling and ground game on Loma, but Loma's going to have I think, more technical strike up against Thainara. Thainara's coming with the Rebos family. She trains with them out of Brazil, and they're very good. They're very decorated and have very good accomplishments with them. So, with that being said, I like Thainara. I think she's going to win via sub or decision, but I'm not very high on her odds. like Mike said, she doesn't really hold the value, and she's new to the UFC, so I wouldn't bet it. But I am pretty confident she does win. But like I said, it's women's MMA, so I'm not betting it.
How do you feel, Mo?
I like Alexia Thainara here. I think she's absolutely going to destroy Luma. But don't get me wrong, like you guys said, it should be closer in the odds. Even though I think she's going to destroy her, like the odds are tweaking. I think plus 205 for Luma, as accomplished as she is and as good as a striker as she is, that's actually crazy. And lately, she's been using a lot of wrestling and getting top control. So I don't know, but I do think Alexia Thainara's submission game is elite. And in the last, I think I watched two fights of hers, and she got two submissions in a row, from what I remember. And I mean, Molly McCann isn't shit; she's whack, but it was a pretty impressive, quick submission. So I like it. I do like her, but I don't know. The odds are a little tweaking. I'd rather live bet Alexia Thainara because I already know it's gonna drop a little bit unless she gets a takedown instantly. If she gets a
Yeah,
takedown instantly, it's gonna go to like minus 500. At that point, you could look for the live bet on the sub. But I do think she's live for a submission. Plus 300 is not bad odds, and under 2.5 is plus 210. That's actually really, really good odds too. It's the first fight of the night for a reason. The UFC is expecting action. They expect a finish from Thainara too.
yeah. So overall, not a beautiful fight, but there should be some action in that one. We'll move over to the next bout though. A fight that was supposed to originally be on Dana White Contender Series. Uh, we have Brando Peričić taking on Elijah Ellison, and I couldn't find a lot of headshots of Elijah Ellison, so I grabbed it off his LinkedIn. But we have Peričić. He's his UFC debut, like I'm saying. Dana White Contender Series bout, pretty much. Are they doing it like they're giving out the contracts still in this, or did they already get contracts? Do you know, Mo or Hot Hand?
What did you
I have
say?
no idea. I have
I,
no idea.
I said since this was supposed to be on Dana White Contender Series, is this like for a contract or like is this for?
No. This is. They have a contract
All
already. I
right,
think he signed.
yeah,
They got
okay,
signed to like a 3 fight contract.
all right, but well, UFC debut, like I'm saying, for Peričić, Australian prospect out of City Kickboxing. Uh, he has a loss on his career, but Ulberg, Izzy, and like Navajo Sterling has talked about saying that he's one of the hardest hitters, if not the hardest hitter they've ever experienced in sparring. Obviously, that's their teammates, so they're gonna hype him up, but that might hold some merit. He has some questionable takedown defense. Grappling is and he'll use clinching against the fence though when he's fighting a low level or a non capable grappler. So he'll still use his size since he's 6'5". On the other side, you have Ellison, very green prospect. He only even started his amateur career in 2022, 2023, late 2023. He started his pro career. Uh, he lost a fight already. Only two of his six pro opponents have winning records. One was a fat slob who's like 7-4 that he knocked out, and then another was another fat slob that he was low key like wrestling for multiple rounds, but then ended up flipping up and getting choked unconscious. Who a guy that I think would get destroyed by anyone in the UFC. I'm talking even like Dontel Mays is doing that guy super foul. So regardless though, he has huge power, and he's just pure ability overall. He's more like raw talent. Um, he is starting to like he does look jacked and he's in shape. I'm curious to see how he's looking in the weigh-ins for this one. Um, but it's a double debut fight, and two guys who haven't shown promise that much, but and well, I guess they've shown some promise, but they have clear holes in their game. And now, like Ellison, he surprised. He opened at a favorite money, and now he's dog money. Obviously, Peričić is getting the hype coming in when you learn about where he's coming from and his background. Low confidence because these guys are pretty green. But I do think the striking of Peričić should matter. I think either way, one of these guys is getting knocked out. Um, I was looking at a possible Method of victory, knockout, but it's minus 400. That's super juiced. You can't really play that. Peričić money line would be my lean overall. But both these guys are still unknown, and this fight was supposed to be on Dana White Contender Series, so that kind of proves how much we know about them. I'm gonna side with the Aussie here, start the night off for the men's fights. How about you, Mo?
I think Brandon Peričić is a lock, but I hope I'm not saying that. And then the Alicia Ellison just comes out and booms him in the first round. I hope it's not one of those, because I do think Brandon Peričić is a lot coming from City Kickboxing and his striking background. And he, like you said, he also leans on the clinch sometimes, and which I think he should do in this fight. Tire out Alicia, whatever his name is, and then knock him out in round 2, which is, I think, should happen unless he gets him out of there quickly, or unless he gets out of there quickly. You know what I mean? You got to remember, at the end of the day, this is a heavyweight bout. These guys are gonna knock each other's heads off, especially Peric, he's coming. He's looking for the knockout. It's Perth. He's trying to entertain that crowd. The crowd's going to be going crazy. I don't know. I don't think they would have. I don't think they would have made this fight in the UFC on the Perth card instead of Dana White Contender Series unless they knew this fight was going to be a finish, and they know this fight is going to be a finish. That's why the odds for fucking this guy to get a knockout, Peric, is minus 150, and his money line is minus 205. Like, the smart move here is just to take his money line just in case some weird shit happens. It's like, why would you pay minus 50 less
Wait, what
for a
happened?
knockout?
That's what the odds are on DraftKings.
Yeah, it's
That's what
minus
they be
150 for
doing that shit
KO,
all the
and then
time.
minus 205 for money line.
And
I'm even looking at, I try minus 205 money line, and then KO is minus 150. I
the
was even trying to
knockout is
look
minus
for,
125 on FanDuel.
wow, that's crazy. I'm even looking at rounds 1 through 2, and that's minus 152. I tried to look for Brandon Peric rounds 1 through 2, minus 150.
Yeah, that's
Brandon
minus
Peric and
that's
under
minus
105.
135.
Yeah, nah, that's whack. I don't like these odds.
Uh,
I'd rather just play it safe and go with the money line, just in case some weird shit happens.
how do you feel, Hot Hand?
Yeah, I don't like betting money line on either of these two just based off they're fighting a month earlier than expected. They're heavyweights. With heavyweights, it takes one shot to fucking put someone out, and they're both big, have power. They both get hit. You know, their defense isn't technically sound, so I don't really trust playing either money line. I would rather play some sort of under. I mean, the under 1.5 is kind of juiced at minus 230, but I don't see any other bet that I would be confident
What
in
about
putting on a money line.
round 2 not to start minus 130?
Minus 130. Yeah, I seen that. I like that.
Yeah,
I'm
I was
even
just looking at that too.
playing that. I
What is it
was
on draft?
It's
my
minus
initial play was
135.
method of victory KO, but I looked and that shit's minus 750.
Yeah,
Like,
minus
so
250 on FanDuel.
someone's getting slept. So I think I rather just bet it to be round 1. Like Mo said, he's in Perth. He's gonna try and put a show on. They
And
probably put
honestly,
this fight on.
they would not have took it off the Contender Series and put it on the Perth card, especially an early fight, unless they knew it was going to be a knockout. Like, it's literally the second fight of the night. They're banking on, if the Thainara doesn't get a sub, they're banking on this fight like this is a guaranteed knockout. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because
No, I could definitely
why
see
else
that.
would they put Thainara and Loma Lookboonme in the first fight unless they know that it's going to
Get him
be
out the
action? You
way.
know what I mean?
Get him out the way.
Yeah. So
That could be true too, but Tainara's an exciting fighter. She's not a boring
Yeah,
fighter.
Loma be letting him rip
Loma,
too.
yeah, she just be trying to slow that shit down.
Yeah, but we'll move on from this pretty much Dana White Contender Series matchup to another women's fight between Michelle Montague and Luana Carolina. Montague, an undefeated New Zealand prospect from the PFL. She trains extensively with Kayla Harrison. Coming down to 135 for this bout. She's fought 145 and even a couple fights ago has fought in 155. She's 5'9", so she's a pretty big fighter for this division.
Yeah, this is her first time fighting at 135 and cutting
Yep,
to
coming
135.
down. Yep, represented New Zealand free state in freestyle wrestling at big tournaments like Wrestling World Championships, Commonwealth Games. Her striking leaves some to be desired. She has a solid front kick, and her 1-2s connect fairly down the pipe. She doesn't really throw like looping punches like a lot of women fighters do. She does throw down the pipe and connects, but very questionable striking defense. Gets hit often. Questionable gas tank. She gets hit in the body a decent amount. I have seen her hurt to the body by some questionable competition. Because she has a decently high guard with her hands. And then Carolina Muay Thai base coming up from 125. She missed weight at 125 before, but she's coming up from 125 here. And she was tall and slender for that division. I'm curious how she fills out up a weight class here, but she's very traditional with her Muay Thai. She's able to be held up against the cage by some pretty low level fighters. Got knocked out by Molly McCann, held up against the fence even on the regional scene. Uh, she's she's really slow at her reactions. I feel like she's so used to the Muay Thai style, where like strike for strike, that if you hit her with a flurry of punches, she gets overwhelmed fairly easily. She's gonna be quick here though, hopefully up a weight class, but I think coming up the weight class for her is a bad move against a girl who's fought 145, 155 with excellent wrestling, excellent clinch control, training with an insane judo expert and Kayla Harrison. And they train extensively together. She'd be in her corner and all that. Um, you know how I roll with women's MMA for live plays, possibly because Montague is on the juke side at minus 245 with her first fight in the UFC without really fighting anyone impressive. I might look for fight not to go the distance I was taking a shot at, possibly because it's plus 100 or plus 125 around that range. And Carolina has 6 finishes in her 15 fights, which isn't insane, but Montague has never seen the judges as a pro. She has 6 finishes, so we don't even know how the gas tank would look. I've seen her hurt on the lower levels against some bad fighters, and I've also seen her be extremely dominant and get finishes. So I think at plus money you're getting some value there, even though it's a women's fight. You can look at Montague, but Montague's money line on the juice side, but that's where I'm leaning on my prediction. I think she'll get it done somehow. Or I think we're gonna have an exciting fight though for this
I
women's bout. How do you
I
feel about
like
it, Mo?
I 80% agree with you here, Mike. I 80% agree with you. The 20% I don't agree with is that if this goes past round one, Montague is losing. It's either round one sub for Montague, which is plus 400, or I think Luana Carolina is going to end up getting a knockout in round three. And Luana Carolina's knockout is plus 1,000. Like you said, like you said, Michelle has never been to the judges. She's never fought at 135, yet alone cut down to 135. So I think that's gonna play a huge factor. If she doesn't get that sub in the first round, she's cooked. Like it's over. Like that's why I'm gonna bet that too. Round one sub plus 400, which is insane value. Like that's literally the only thing she does, the only thing she's known for. And if you look at her record, she's fought straight up cans in the PFL, straight up negative records. The best competition she's ever fought was inside of her amateur career, and it's against a 4-0 opponent who just got into the PFL right now.
How
So
about you, Hot Hand? How do you feel about it?
one
Yeah, I
plus
didn't do
400. Luana Carolina win by KO plus 1,000. What's the round three? Let me check what round three is. Luana Carolina KO in round three is plus 3,500. I'm not gonna lie, bro. Why not?
Yeah, honestly, yeah,
Why the
that is
fuck
good.
not? You know what I mean? Why plus 35? Why the fuck not?
All right, but Hot
You
Hand,
know what I
how
mean?
do you feel?
I feel like this fight reminds me of that Jillian Robertson fight with the KO odds. Like that's how good these odds are. Because it's either that first round sub for Michelle or those KOs are gonna hit. But like you said, Mike, this fight is not going the distance, so that's a great straight play.
Hot Hand.
I didn't do no tape, so I don't want to speak on it.
Oh,
I
okay.
didn't do for.
All right, respectable. We'll keep it moving then. We have Josiah Musasa taking on Colby Thicknesse. You got Musasa, fighter from the Congo, very green. We got the fade on him last time out. We got Vera at plus 650. We got the sub at plus 1250. That was all signaled, but he comes in here
Oh yeah,
not a
everybody
deep,
cashed that
yeah,
day.
not a deep grappling or submission resume. Uh, he's not really technical, and he's mostly just raw power and just aggression and just looking for knockouts. Thickness, Australian prospect. He trains extremely closely with Alexander Volkanovski, the champion. He has good range management, good volume, good kicks, and I think that he surprised a lot of people despite losing to Elliot, his brother. He came in there as a decent sized dog and showed his own. At least earned another fight on the card or on the UFC. But he has a good intensive pressure, and he hunts for stuff. Like he'll grapple you up, shoot for single legs, shoot for your back. So he's always trying to bring the fight to you. Um, Overall thickness is, I think, the more well versed fighter when it comes to well roundedness, and it's tough to trust Musayas, but I think Musasa or Musasa. Wait, if he gets to the ground, he's gonna be outmatched. Colby Thickness is a black belt in jiu-jitsu, trains with some high level guys, and as he brings pressure, I think that either Thickness is gonna get this to the ground and look for submissions because he understands the power that's coming from Musasa. But at the same time, I think if he slacks, I have seen him dropped on the regional scene in Hex and even like in other places. So I think that whoever he's fought in Hex doesn't have as much power as Musasa in reality. So I think that it's either Thickness closes the distance, gets us to the ground, and either maybe gets a TKO. I don't think that's as high possible as the submission with how the gap in jiu-jitsu, or he's gonna get caught closing the distance and knocked out. So it's pretty much like the last. I'm looking towards the fight not to go the distance. Minus 135. Um, that's where overall I'm leaning in this fight. I'm checking if that's still the odds right
Where
now.
are you getting those odds, bro? It's
Minus
minus
144.
160 for me.
I put my notes in on Wednesday, so that's when I wrote this down. Minus
Yeah,
144. I
this
got
shit
it
is
on
minus
FanDuel.
160 for me.
FanDuel is minus 144, but that's where I'm leaning on this one. I think that either Thickness gets knocked out fucking up, or he gets a sub, or maybe gets a knockout. But I don't think this
That's
fight's going to the judges.
I completely agree, 100 million%. That's the way I have this fight. It's either going to be a Josias Musasa knockout, which I lean more toward, or it's going to be a Colby Thickness submission, probably like late after Musasa gets tired. But I think, like you said, Musasa is just pure raw talent. He has, don't get me wrong, his technique on the feet is not bad, but I don't think he has any ground game. I think he's just a pure KO artist. Colby Thickness at least knows what he's doing down there. Trains with good people. Musasa, I'm high on people like who you train with. You know what I mean? Musasa doesn't train with nobody. He's from the Congo. Like he literally has no actual good teammates. They're just out there throwing hands. You know what I mean?
uh,
But I do think he could catch Colby, and I do think Colby could get him with a sub. So I like the under, but minus 160 is a little juiced. If I can't get that at like minus 140 or lower, uh, I'm just not gonna bet unless I could live bet one of them.
Hot hand. How do you feel?
Yeah, I think Mufasa, he just relies on his strength and his athletic ability, and then Thickness is more technical. But I don't really see Thickness's technicality making the difference against Mufasa. It's just athletic ability. You know, he has heavy hands. He's fast. And I mean, Thickness is just durable. I mean, they gave him to a dog in Topuria for his debut, but I feel this is a turning point for him. It's either make or break. But him training with Volk likes me to take him his value as the dog, but I do think it's a finish with either Mufasa KO or Thickness taking him deep into the fight and beating him or catching him in a sub. So I like the under, or I like the Thickness money line.
All right, we'll keep it moving. I am excited for that fight. But here we have a fight that was like I just saw it and I was like I forgot these guys are.
Thickness money line is not a bad bet. I think the value's on him for sure. It should definitely be minus 115 each side.
Hmm. We have Jamie Mullarkey taking on Rolando Bedoya on this bout. We have Mullarkey, 11 fight UFC vet, 5-6. He has some decent comp. Very strike oriented in his game. He has good boxing combinations. He's willing to go into the fire, and he gets tagged. He does get tagged. He doesn't give a fuck what's going on. He gets to fight into brawls. He's good in clinches with his Muay Thai background. His chin has some cracks in it. He's been dropped a bunch of times, hurt a bunch of times, knocked out a bunch of times. But then you have like a guy who doesn't have, I don't think, as much power in Bedoya, Shootbox Diego Lima product. So he has flashy kicks, striking that is all flash, but he's not as well versed on the ground as a lot of the people over at Shootbox Diego Lima who usually have an extremely dangerous guard or very sharp jiu-jitsu. I haven't seen a lot of great jiu-jitsu from him. I don't rate his power high, but I do think he has really good combination. I think that he showboats a lot though, leaves his chin high. He's shown lapses in striking defense. I think this fight's going to be entertaining overall. Uh, I think Bedoya's durability is going to be enough to withstand at least getting knocked out by Mullarkey. He might be getting outstruck by Mullarkey though. I think Mullarkey connects on his punches a little bit better, has a little bit more power. I'll give the finishing upside to Bedoya slightly just because of him, Mullarkey's chin being worse. But in Australia, pick 'em fight, I'm gonna lean the more tested Mullarkey slightly. This isn't a fight that I'm running to the cash counter to bet on here, but it could be an exciting bout. It could get sweaty back in Mullarkey, but I think the fight to go the distance. When I had these odds written down, it was minus 155. Now it is minus 142. So yeah, fight to go the distance minus 142. I'm liking a little bit. I think these guys are going to be brawling. Also, Bedoya knockout only money line. So it gets voids if it goes any other method besides Bedoya knockout only. Minus 180 since Mullarkey's chinny and Bedoya has fought power at 170 like Chaos Williams. So I think his chin is pretty tested. So knockout only money line minus 180. Fight to go the distance minus 142. Or you can take a shot if you want to get degenerate on Mullarkey money line, outstriking him. But how do you feel about this one hot hand?
Yeah, I like Bedoya. Uh, I very frown upon Mullarkey. I don't think he's very good. I think his chin has been cracked time and time again, and I can't ever bet on Mullarkey. Uh, I think Bedoya has fought better comp, and he also is moving down with Mullarkey. And if his chin held up with people like Chaos Williams, I think his chin is fine. So I do like that KO money line play for Bedoya. I also like his money line, but I could also see Bedoya sleeping Mullarkey just based off Mullarkey's chin being cracked so many times, and Bedoya lands a lot of significant strikes per fight. So I could see Bedoya catching Mullarkey just getting cracked and cracked again, because I feel this fight's just going to be 15 minutes of stand up boxing, kickboxing. So give me Bedoya. I like the KO only, and I like Bedoya by KO.
How about you, Mo? Here, Mo. Did we lose Mo? No, Mo's here. We're on mute though.
Yeah, he's here. I don't know.
All right, well, we're keeping pushing. I can say a word later. Uh, we'll go over to Obon Elliot taking on Jonathan Micallef. Micallef, well-rounded Australian prospect, coming in off the upset win against Kevin Jousset, the French judo and kickboxing guy. He trains heavily with Robert Whitaker, especially in his last camp for RDR. Was a tough sparring partner for him, but solid striking with extremely heavy kicks to the body and to the head. Decently impressive takedown defense as well as formidable jiu-jitsu. Then you got Elliot, solid judo skills with more of a grappling approach, but also has power to end fights on the field. Yeah, what he did to Basil Hafez, he has the power to um, put your lights out if it does get into exchanges. But overall, he's trying to grind the fight out. He's coming off that loss as a minus 400 favorite against I think it was Hyuk Ko. He was controlled for over 10 minutes in that bout against the Korean Tyson and outstruck 80 something to 19. So absolute beatdown. I personally think Micallef has a slightly decent advantage on the feet, power, and with his technicality, and while also having decent takedown defense and jiu-jitsu skills off of his back to stall Oban's like clinch work. I think he'll make it that Oban has to be active. I don't find Oban that much stronger. Uh, Micallef is a little bit bigger size wise. I think that he can edge this one out in front of the home crowd. I'm gonna have to sign with the Aussie again. It's plus money here. I'm not gonna mess around with round props because I think that Micallef is live to hurt Elliot, and Elliot also has finishing capability. So I'm probably just gonna rock with Micallef moneyline plus 102. You can't hurt on a live play either. After the first 2.5 minutes, you get your read and see where the odds lie. I would not be scared of that in this fight either. But Hot Hand, how do you feel about this one?
Yeah, I like Oban here. I thought he would have been more of a favorite, but he's coming off that loss, and but his last performance, I mean, didn't really look like the Oban I've seen fight Basil Hafez and other fights he was in, and I don't think the odds should be like this. I like Oban here. I think Micallef is he's young and he still has to hit that loss in his career to really learn from it. And I think Oban was coming like, okay, I just beat Basil Hafez by knockout, tooting his own horn, and he got overconfident in himself. But I think he's going to learn from that loss, and he's going to come out here. I do think the fight is going to go to the judges here, so I do like the over. I'm not sure on odds, but I do like Oban as well as the more experienced fighter, and I think he'll have a more solid game plan here against the young, inexperienced guy.
Yeah, fight to go the distance is minus 210 in that bout on FanDuel. Those odds are from. So
Yeah, I don't
it
like
could.
that.
I don't think that's appropriate for like the what the actual probability is. Mo, are you back yet, or are you still incognito? Okay,
Yeah, I don't know where
I'll
we
assume
were.
it's the latter of the two. Keep this one pushing. We got Andre Petroski taking on Cam Rowston. Rowston fought this season of Dana White Contender Series. We saw him come in City Kickboxing product. He's more so a submission threat compared to the traditional strikers that come out that gym. But he did recently go to Thailand, buff up his striking, and it paid dividends in his last bout as he got that knockout. I believe he's a dog in that one. A 6'3", 75-inch reach. He has pretty mid takedown defense and has been held down in his fights, but he's usually solid in his grappling and offensive pressure against some mid guys. But Petroski, longtime vet, solid pressure grappler with submissions, stocky build, grind you out type of guy. But he can get finishes too. But he's been subbed in his own right. Subbed in the past by guys like Brian Battle with a ninja choke back in the Ultimate Fighter. So that hole is not non-existent. Originally, I was looking at Petroski to like Nurmagomedov his way to the W. But like the more I look at the fight, the more I'm just kind of like thinking about the value of it. Just like I'm thinking about Rowston's solid jiu-jitsu, his get-up game, and he's gonna have the height and reach and striking advantage. I think his recent striking improvement might be a lot like to disrupt Petroski in the feet if he can't continuously hold him down. I don't think he's submitting him. So like if he can if he can't control him, I think that Rowston plus 3.5 minus 155 is pretty decent considering he's never been subbed. Orlovsky's not an insane power knockout guy. I think Rowston has the advantage on the feet from city kickboxing. He has the range, he has the height. If he doesn't get Nurmagomedov, all we have to do is ask him to win around here on the cards. I don't really want to play around with totals, but I think Rowston want to sprinkle a money line play is suitable at the value, but I'll probably take the plus 3.5 at minus 155. How do you feel about this one, Hot Hand?
Yeah, I think Rowston's very live here. I mean, I'm a little scared how Petroski is going to do with the grappling. I feel he's going to be able to take him down. I just don't know if Rowston will be able to get back up. And I feel to win this fight, he's going to have to make it dirty, be able to stuff these takedown attempts and land knees and elbows. And then when he's in range, land his kicks and his long strikes like ones and twos and teeps. So uh, I think it all depends on if Rowston could get back up from the takedown. I think this fight is great for a live bet. I like Petroski on a takedown prop, depending on what the line is. But I think Rowston is live, though. I feel he will be able to overcome the takedowns and drag Petroski deep and body him up, hit knees, and then drain him in the later rounds, and then maybe get a finish. But I think Rowston, I do like the spread play as well that you said plus 3.5.
I think Mo's still gone, so we'll keep it pushing. The Navajo Stirling taking on Dolfo Bellato. Bellato, BJJ, black belt, but he does have some decent power on the feet. Coming off that up kick, no contest. He still has a lot to prove, in my opinion, but he's getting some decent fights here. Uh, and then you have Navajo Sterling from City Kickboxing coming off of a war with Ivan Erslan, where he gained some experience, in my opinion, in all aspects, going deep into the water. He's almost getting finished, almost getting his own finishes. And he's primarily a striker, but he's shown that he is able to grapple and get into some chain wrestling if he needs to. I think Sterling should have the answer for whatever Bellato brings, unless he somehow makes a mistake and finds himself getting subbed. Sterling should be able to stuff takedowns and unload strikes here, in my opinion. So I'm gonna look at it's still not up yet. They have the same game parlays. I was looking at Navajo and maybe like a minute prop or like over a half round. Try to get his money line down to more relative odds. I don't really like the over 1.5. I think that if he stuffs some takedowns and he fires on the feet, I think he can catch Bellato. So I'm looking at his money line, looking to try to maybe parlay a couple minutes onto that or half a round, or maybe if you want to take his knockout. Uh, I think that it's possibly around 2 or 3 after he's feeling it out. But how about you, Hot Hand?
Yeah, my first read off this fight, I like Bellato. But then the more I looked in and watched past fights, I'm like, he really has no sort of defense when it comes to the striking. His head movement isn't all there, and he gets hit a lot. And with such a good striker like Stirling, I figured Stirling's more than likely going to tag him up. I think his takedown defense has improved each time we've seen him, Stirling, and he's looking more comfortable with the grappling coming out of a kickboxing gym. So the more I watched it, I think Stirling's due here. I do like Stirling's money line, and I do think he is going to hit Bellato enough to find his first KO in the UFC. So I do like Stirling a lot. I think he is going to catch Bellato, or he's just going to keep hitting him until he eventually finds the KO. So give me Stirling.
All right. Um, Hot Hand or not Hot Hand? Mo, are you alive, buddy? It says he's still here. We're on mute. He's probably in a call, to be honest. But
Yeah. So,
that being said, we'll go into the quick break where just let you know to join the Discord in the description. We're cooking up. We are frying the NFL already. I'm up around 40 units on the NFL, and it's only week 3. I'm 200 units year to date, and that's only me, not our other guys that are also all tracked, profitable, sniping all these variety of sports. So it's free for the Discord. MMA Gems is where you're getting our actual reads for just for the MMA, Dana White Contender Series, UFC, PFL, BKFC, you name it, whatever. If dudes are fighting in a back alley, we got a lean for you. Um, but that's the side where $10 a month, which is less than fucking Chick-fil-A, or $25 for 3 months, which is less than Chick-fil-A twice. So it's easy math. Get right or get left. I'm gonna say it every time. And we'll move over to the main card. We have Tom Nolan taking on Charlie Campbell. Campbell, crisp striker, grappling, coming out of the Ray Longo gym. He has fast striking with accuracy, knockout power. And then on the other side, you have Tom Nolan, who also is pretty well rounded. He has volume striking, variety, good striking output and distance, and he has finishing ability with 5 knockouts. He comes with that momentum after that a convincing win over Slava Borishev. He's less proven on the ground, even though we did see him get some takedowns. We've seen him tagged up on the feet before, but it did look well. It did look good to use his reach and his 6'3" frame to pick on the shorter Slava. But Slava's a bit inconsistent, so you can be the judge of how you rate that fight. I'm very split on this fight right here because I think Campbell is the better striker, but I think Nolan with momentum, hometown crowd, grappling upside. I think this fight's going to be extremely close. I'm very torn on it. Uh, I'm pick flopping back and forth right now. I'm picking Tom Nolan, but I can see Charlie Campbell winning this fight with his better striking. We've seen him hurt before he got knocked out by Chris Duncan. He had Duncan doing the chicken dance, so it could have easily went his way as well.
Yo, my bad, guys. My mom called me. She's all the way in Turkey.
All right,
Um,
hold up.
who did we go through so I could just get a
All right,
quick
just go.
rundown of
We'll
my
run through you
picks?
real quick. We're at uh, did you pick?
Jamie Mullarkey.
Yeah,
I got Jamie Mullarkey money line in that fight. I do think it's gonna be an ugly fight. I think it's a live bet type of fight, but I don't know. They both have a lot to lose. I think whoever loses is gonna get cut. Jonathan Micallef versus Oban Elliot. Honestly, I think the value's on Micallef here, plus 100. I think he's one of the better prospects we have in the UFC, and he's like really slept on. Nobody really knows about him. I think he's really, really good. Plus 100, can't pass that up. And also, I think over 2.5 minus 250 is an insane parlay piece locked down. Like literally not. There's no way this fight doesn't go the distance, especially over 2.5.
wait, what fight? What fight is
Ken
that?
Ross, Micallef, and Elliot. I think
Yeah,
the over 2.5 is a straight up lock, minus 250. It's actually really good odds. I thought those odds would be like minus 400.
fight to go the distance is minus 210 on FanDuel.
That's good too. I mean, if you want to be safe, you might as well just take the extra 30 seconds minus 245. I think
Yeah,
is a good parlay piece. The extra 2 minutes and 30 seconds.
yeah.
Petroski and Rowston. Bro, Petroski always finds a way to get these W's in the UFC, but it's like if Rowston doesn't get the first round KO, I think Petroski wins. That's the way I think this fight goes. Petroski, he's very dominant in the grappling. We saw Torres Finney-Smith destroy Rowston in the grappling in his first Contender Series fight. Then I think he fought a can in the Contender Series and obliterated him. Like I think the guy he fought was absolutely garbage. But I don't know. I think Rowston first round KO because Petroski's chin is type sus in the first round, but usually when he gets like warmed up, he's pretty good. You know what I mean? It's either gonna knock him out in the first round or you're not gonna knock him out at all. That's the way Petroski is, and he didn't get knocked out by Shabazian, who has insane power, insane technique, insane knockout ability. We've seen Shabazian do some crazy stuff. They went to a decision. So I lead more towards Petrowski, but I think there's value on Cam Roston round 1 KO, which is plus 750, which is insane value. Yeah, what fighter? Navajo Sterling. I think Navajo Sterling gets a KO here, unless Bellato runs away the whole time. I think if Bellato fights how he normally fights, he's going to overextend and he's going to get countered heavy by Navajo Sterling because Navajo Sterling, he's like more of a calm, laid back. He's not gonna like pressure you too much. You know what I mean?
Yep.
I think Navajo Sterling money line is a great pick, but also be careful with that because 90% of money is on Navajo Sterling, and the second highest favorite is Jack Jenkins with 86% of the money on him, which I don't like. I think one of them is gonna lose.
All right.
I don't think it's not, and I don't think it's Navajo Sterling.
This fight. This
You
fight right
guys
here.
already talked about this?
Yeah, I was just finishing up on this one. Wait, no,
For this fight,
Hot Hand didn't pick his yet. Talk about this yet.
okay, go ahead, Harry.
Yeah, I like Nolan here. I mean, him and Campbell are both good strikers. They're both well rounded. I think Nolan's a little better off with striking or the wrestling and BJJ, but Campbell does have very nice boxing. But I do like Nolan. He's home. I think he has more experience. He's still young too. He's only 25 years old, but I feel he's gotten better each time he stepped into the octagon, and I think he's going to make a statement against Campbell. I do like Nolan, or I do like under. I feel someone's going to get put to sleep, or Nolan could catch Campbell in some crafty submission, but I would take a under or Nolan money line.
Oh yeah, I didn't say my play for this. I lean Nolan, but I was actually looking at the over 1.5 at -150. I think that they're gonna clinch a little bit in this one. I think Nolan's gonna try to bring a clinch approach. If he starts getting tagged, I think that his range management's pretty good, but Charlie Campbell's boxing's pretty good. And if Tom Nolan can get to the cage like he's looked to do in his previous fights, um, it could stall at least a round out of there. But maybe round two to start, but then you're getting kind of juiced at the -250, -270 range. So I think there's value on -150 for over 1.5 when everyone's thinking that this is going to be a quick knockout. But anything past that, I think the fight to go the distance. Let me see what the odds are at least. +175. I think there's some decent value on that. I have that in my notes, but someone probably will get slept because Charlie Campbell will be crashing out, and so does Tom Nolan. But Mo,
I, I like I've been back and forth on this fight a lot because I'm a huge fan of both of them. I do think Tom Nolan has the submission threat in this fight, and Charlie Campbell doesn't. But I do think Charlie Campbell's striking is a million times better than Tom's. Don't get me wrong, Tom is not bad at all. I just think Charlie Campbell's boxing is too crispy. He has great power. She didn't fucking get like if that greatest comeback ever, like top three comeback ever from Chris Duncan didn't happen in the Contender Series, I think he would be looked at as a way higher prospect. But people are undervaluing him because of that. And don't get me wrong, Chris Duncan is actually a beast. Seen what he just did to Rebecca, took all of our money. Um. So yeah, I think Charlie Campbell has the value here at +130. And I also think his KO at +300 is extremely valuable because we've seen Tom Nolan hurt before. We've seen him hurt by Borishev. So, you know what I mean? And Borishev is more of a fucking decision volume point fighter.
yeah,
And that's actually crazy. I think Charlie Campbell packs a lot of power. So I got to back Campbell here. I'm going to his money line. I think that's the safest play, and I'm going to sprinkle his KO +300.
yeah, I can see. But we'll move on. That's gonna be an exciting fight, in my opinion. Then we have
Yeah, that's one of the most underrated fights on this card. That's one of the best fights on this card.
Yeah, and
That
then
and the Micallef and Elliot fight.
yeah, that fight's gonna be solid as well. We have Justin Tafa now taking on Louis Sutherland. Heavyweights, big boys at pick'em odds. Um, Sutherland, coming over from the PFL, not a lot of fights on his record. Known for striking power, finishing ability, decent on the regional scene with his experience. Um, but Bellator, I don't know if PFL, I don't know, but yeah, then you have Tafa, UFC veteran, very shaky in his career, 7-5 pro record. Most of his by knockout. He got knocked out recently. I think was that his last fight? Taliesin Teixeira got put out pretty
Yeah,
early. Um, but this fight I don't really want to talk much about. It's like a power striker versus power striker. Both guys like to stand up and strike. Near is known for grappling or submissions. he's going to be the early exchanges. Like, whoever lands the first heavy shot or forces the uncomfortable against the cage shit, and momentum's going to swing. Tafa has more UFC exposure, obviously, with Sutherland making his debut. Used to the lights, he's in Australia, but he's not a reliable fighter whatsoever. Shown vulnerability to quick finishes. Sutherland has momentum coming in for his debut. Uh, Less worn. I think he's taken less damage in his career. If he uses his reach, his accuracy, keeps the distance, he can avoid damage and get a win. I give him the slight edge here. Nothing too huge. I'm not confident on either of these guys. It's just like, is it a redemption story for Justin Tafa trying to bounce back after these losses and he's in front of his home crowd? Louis Sutherland's durability is going to get tested, and the importance of like just the distance. It's like I'm leaning Sutherland. I think he's more polished, um, good momentum and power. The Tafa's still dangerous. The fight is going to end early. I expect the fireworks, and this does not. I don't think this is going the distance whatsoever. So I don't think Tafa's possible to go. I don't know who I'm leaning here. I guess it's stupid to take Justin Tafa because he's unreliable, but is it also stupid to fade Justin Tafa in Australia? That's the question. But
I
how
think
do you
Justin
feel?
Tafa's dumb whack. Can't
I
lie. Like I'm tired of trying to bet on him and his brother and losing money. That's why I've learned to just fade them in the past couple of fights. And I do think Louis Sutherland is a fucking tank. And he's never been knocked out. In the film I've watched, I haven't seen him wobbled or anything from any strikes. He'll clinch up. He'll take you to the ground. He'll wrestle if he has to. And I'm pretty sure he knows he has to here. And I'm pretty sure he knows that Tafa is fucking whack. So he could just take him down and do whatever he wants to him. So I'm going Louis Sutherland money line here. That's my official pick on this fight.
uh all right. How about you, Hot Hand?
Yeah, I like Sutherland here. I just can't see myself ever betting on Tafa. I think he's pretty shit, and it's heavyweight. I do think someone's getting slept here, though. I don't know if it's gonna be Sutherland
I'm not
ground
gonna lie.
and
I
pound.
thought Sutherland decision would be way higher odds. Like I thought it would be like in the plus 600 or higher range. That shit is only plus 275. That's crazy.
Yeah,
So
I don't think odds makers like the KO.
I do like the over 1.5 in this fight too as good like as
Yeah.
value. My
The
plus 150.
Sutherland by points on FanDuel
Oh
plus
shit, that shit
210
is minus 160. What the fuck?
for what?
For over 1.5 is minus 160. That's crazy.
I think the value would be leaning towards under, but like with the
I mean over
plus
two and a
money
half
on the
is
under.
plus 140.
Round
I don't know.
three, round
I could
three.
see a lot of clinching and
Justin
ground control in
Tafa
this
though.
fight from Louis Sutherland.
I just feel like Justin Tafa after like 5 minutes is gonna be so gassed from throwing haymakers in front of the Australian crowd. Round three not to start is minus 130. So I kind of like that. I don't think this is going the distance. I think you're getting value there with relative odds when the not to or the fight to not go the distance is upwards of minus 260. So I think minus one.
I also like Louis Sutherland to win in round three as a plus 1200. Like that's not bad sprinkle if you're gonna take the round three not to start.
You said you like Tafa hot hand. What did you say?
No, he said he likes Sutherland.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I like Sutherland, or I like fight to end in a KO at minus 220 as a parlay piece.
Yeah, I like that too. That's actually a good odds. But we'll keep it pushing. We'll go over to Jake Matthews taking on Neil Magny. You got Jake Matthews coming in here, Australian prospect, another down under. Well, I guess not really prospect, maybe, but uh,
He's a vet.
yeah. At this point, like he
Oh,
is
it's
still
only got
young
like
though.
16
He's
fights in
still
the
young.
UFC.
He's
Yeah,
there.
he's been here since he was young.
Yeah, but well-rounded guy, good submission offense, solid grappling takedowns, competent striking. He's improved his striking, but last week he cashed me last time at plus money against Chidi and Jekawani or whatever. But I did not think that he was gonna do what he did by sub in round one.
Yeah, that
But
was surprising. That was so
yeah,
surprising, bro.
then you got Neil Magny, volume striker with long reach, good cardio and durability. He pulled one out of the grave. Oh no, that wasn't him his last fight, but I was thinking about Phil Rowe. I always get them confused, but he's just less aggressive on the submission threat than compared to Jake Matthews. But he has experience. He has that win over Elijah Zaleski. Uh, Magny's long reach gives him an advantage in the striking distance. I want to keep Matthews from getting close and working the grappling and submissions. Matthews does have good clinch work and does get inside. Magny has the experience with what is it, 30 something. I don't even know how many fights he has in the UFC, but I think that Father Time is catching up on
35
him.
fights.
Yeah, Father Time's catching up on him. Uh, Early rounds are going to be key. If Matthews can avoid getting caught from the outside and the jab, um, and get inside, I think that he can get the W here. Minus 380, I think is a bit disrespectful. I think those odds are a bit wide here.
Yeah, they're insane. I can't lie.
I'm not taking going to be the one to take him at those odds. So I think
Listen, all I
maybe
know is, listen, wait, I'm sorry to cut you off, Mike. All I know is the only thing to do in this fight, like betting wise, since the fucking odds are disgusting, the literally absolute only thing to do if you want to cash over 2.5 minus 130, and then you hedge it with Jake Matthews KO plus 350. Win
he's
win no matter
subbing
what.
now. He's subbing now. I'm not getting caught with that
Yeah,
bullshit.
I feel you, but I don't know. Neil Magny, I don't know. He has
Yeah,
6
I don't
losses by
think he's
sub.
subbing Magny though.
Yeah, I don't
I
think
mean,
he's
yeah,
sub. Like Magny only gets subbed when he gets rocked, and then they get like and then they sub him. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Unless
Uh,
you're Shavkat, and then you just pull off a fucking standing gilly.
the way I'm
you
probably
said
gonna
you
look.
said what was that hedge play, Mo?
The hedge play is Matthews KO plus 350.
And what was your original one? The over two and a
Over
half.
2.5 minus 130. I feel like that's the only way this is gonna go. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I like that.
I don't really see him subbing him, and I don't see Magny winning this at all. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, I think the odds are inflated, but I don't see Magny winning at all. I'd say it's more like a minus 250 here. So
Yeah,
plus 300 on Magny is crazy. Even
yeah.
though he was my lock when he fought last time against Zaleski DeSantis, he was my absolute lock. Plus 3.5 was it? And then his money line at plus money
Yeah.
cashed on both of those. I was very confident, but I don't see him getting it done against Matthews, especially after what he just pulled against Ninjaquani.
How do you feel about this one hot hand?
Yeah, I think Matthews is gonna light Magny up. I think he also could find the KO finish. I think Magny's grappling and BJJ and his length will keep him safe from submissions. But I do see Matthews struggling a bit early to find get past Magny's reach. But then when he does, he's gonna dirty box his head off. I mean, Matthews has such good boxing in the pocket. I think it's going to be a clear advantage on the striking for Matthews. But I do like Mo's two plays. How we said take Matthews KO to hedge the over. So I could see this fight going to the decision. That's what I do think. I do like Matthews by decision, or Matthews by KO.
All right. We'll keep it pushing. And we got Jack Jenkins taking on Ramon Taveras. Um, Jack Jenkins, Australian guy, of course, 5'7", 68-inch reach, switch stance guy. um, he has great leg kicks. Lost to Gabriel Santos, who's an up and coming guy, but he tends to bring high striking volume, leg kicks, mix of submissions. He has good striking accuracy, decent takedown defense. His chin and submission defense has been tested. Uh, Finishing instincts, they're questionable, but he had a recent injury, like a throat. But Jenkins had a recent injury, his throat
His
cartilage
neck,
fracture.
his neck. He
Yeah,
was about to
so
not be able to talk for the rest of his life from a fight.
yeah, so that and you don't know if that plays a factor still. Vars has finishing instincts. You're talking about him, both standing and on the ground. He's dangerous early, willing to get into the pocket and brawl. He's a southpaw, has power, decent submission game. Tends to lose when the fight drags though, because he starts to throw his power early and tries to throw a lot of volume. Uh, Sometimes misses with the gate. But this is going to be a distance battle, and striking exchanges are going to be key very early. Taveras is gonna probably try to throw power pretty heavily and get an early finish. Shaq's gonna want to use that switch stance and leg kicks, keep busy to avoid getting caught because Taveras is probably gonna start the first 7.5 minutes of this fight throwing some pretty intense heat. Both have sub wins. Both could scramble. I think it's I don't like the. I don't know what I'm looking for the line here. Taking a look, I actually have the odds wrong on the graphic, but I think it's way closer. It's minus 285 Jack Jenkins minus or plus 230 Ramon Taveras, so way wider than I have. But I think it's closer than
Yeah,
the line shows.
the odds are absolutely ridiculous here.
So I
I've
think
I've watched Jack
yeah.
Jenkins fight multiple times, and he looks like shit. I
So
can't
I
even
don't
lie
really
to
want
you.
to mess
And we don't
around with
even
this fight.
we don't even know how he's gonna look after this crazy ass neck injury.
Yeah, I don't want to mess
You
around
know
with
what I
this
mean?
fight because of the neck injury. I know he's
Wait,
home.
why do you have the odds minus
Yeah,
plus
I
one
fucked it
ten and
up.
minus 110?
Yeah, that's why I
Yeah, but
corrected it.
Tavares is like plus 280.
Yeah,
Even though I do think your odds are what it should be. Like I think Jenkins is like a minus 160 ish
he's
favorite here,
minus
but
285 on DraftKings, plus 230 for
yeah,
Tavares.
yeah. I'm saying my odds would be like minus 160 Jenkins, but I do think Tavares is winning this. I like his boxing. I think he's gonna like get past those leg kicks and he's gonna put it on him. Honestly,
I like the look of
especially at plus 280, like that's actually wild. I'm
I think
sprinkling that for sure.
I like the odds on the plus two something, but I'm also looking at the spreads. If you look at Tavares plus 7.5, minus 175, or plus 5.5, minus 135, plus 3.5 is a nice minus 110. So
We got. I like that. I'm not gonna lie. I really like that. But we gotta watch and see how the judges are acting in the previous fights with all the Australians because this is the co-main event, so we'll know by then
that's why still
how
plus
they're
seven and a
judging the
half,
fight.
plus 7.5. Even if we get backdoored in a 30-27, we still already he can win one round on one card and
I'll
win.
say yeah, that's minus 175. That's a good parlay piece. That's actually an insanely good parlay piece. I don't think he's getting finished here. I'll be honest with you.
How
I
do you
think it's Jack.
feel?
I just think it's Jack Jenkins by decision, or Ramon Tavares is winning this shit by however he wants, by
Yeah,
KO
I
or
think the odds
decision.
are wide for sure. Hot hand, don't you like Jack Jenkins here? What's your read here?
Yeah, I was big on Jenkins until I heard about his neck injury after the Santos fight, and then the fight previously before that, he gets a dislocated elbow or whatever it was fighting Cheap A Mariscal. So I was heavy on Jenkins, but I don't know what version of Jenkins we're gonna see after this injury. But I do still think Jenkins is gonna win. I think his heavy leg kicks are gonna disrupt Tavares' boxing, and he won't really be able to throw how he usually does with the targeting of the Jenkins leg kicks. But like I said, with his past injuries, I am absolutely not playing him at minus 285 coming off an injury like that. So I think it would be dog or pass in this situation.
Listen, all I'm saying is remember it. When we come back to the next podcast, we're gonna be talking about how Ramon Tavares was a fucking a plus 250, and we cashed. That's it.
All right, we're keep it pushing, and we got the co-main event. Jimmy,
Oh
fucking,
shit! I thought that was the Coleman event.
this is the co-main event. Jimmy, fucking Crute taking on Yvonne Erslan. Jimmy Crute, obviously he has a jiu-jitsu. He's very questionable in his career. Has weird draws and like where his fights where he looks like he's invincible and then turns around and loses the rest of the fight. Uh, Started karate at 4 years old, judo at 8, BJJ at 11. He's been fighting his whole life. Held the Heck Series lightweight championship, double title defenses. But you have Ivan Erslan on the other side, who is huge dude. Just came in and impressed against with a Navajo Stirling. Everyone was so surprised, even though that fight was decent. Uh, it got close on the odds when it came to closing, but Erslan, coming from KSW, he has high TKO ratio. I think it's 10 of his 14 wins by knockout. He loses by he's lost mostly by decisions. He has TKO knockout and a sub knockout. He has heavy striking power, finishes instinct early, good stand up. Less proven in the grappling, but he did show signs of strength and grappling prowess in his last bout. Obviously, some vulnerability in the longer rounds. Uh, Navajo stole it, if I believe so, in the third round against him. Crute, I think his path is obviously to grapple and to clinch and get Erslan on the ground and try to employ a submission game. Is he going to be able to do that? I don't know. Crute is an extremely unreliable fighter. There seem to always be juicing his odds up, and he never covers his line. Even if he wins at minus 400, it's always closer than that during the fight. So, for that being said, I don't really know how I can approach taking him. Minus 205, it's like starting to get back down to realistic numbers, but I think Erslan has a path here, starting fast pressure and trying to keep it standing, looking for a knockout. I think Crute probably does have the ability to bring him down to the ground, but I'm gonna, I guess Jimmy Crute's the lean, but I won't be betting on him. I guarantee you I won't be betting on money line. Yeah, I don't know about overs unders either because I can see this fight going the distance with the toughness of Ivan Erslan, but I can also see easily either Jimmy Crute finding a sub or getting his dumbass caught and knocked out. So this might be just like a pass fight for me. How do you feel about it, Hot Hand?
Yeah, I think it's a dog or pass. I think Erslan is the better striker, and he's developing more and more into the ground game. But I think Crew is a one-trick pony, gets the takedown and gets a KO or sub off the takedown, but he doesn't tend to do as well as the fight goes on. And I think Erslan is going to have some resistance to the takedowns later in the fight. So I think as long as Erslan could get out of that early storm of Crute, he's going to be a good live money play after round one. You could also take him pre-fight, and I do like Erslan by decision. I could see this fight dragging out, and Erslan just picks him apart for the last two rounds and plays it safe into the decision. But I can't take Jimmy Crute at no minus 205.
Uh, how about you, Mo? Go there.
This is a dog or pass fight, like you guys both just said. And in the past 6 fights for Crew, he's only won one time. He's only cashed you one time if you bet him. And I'm just not putting my money on him again. He cannot be trusted. He does not respect coin. And I do think Irvine is the way better boxer, and he's live for a KO. So what I'm gonna do is like his KO odds are plus 240, and his money line is plus 180. So I'm just gonna take his money line at that point, and then I'm gonna sprinkle a decision just in case Crute is apparently tough enough now all of a sudden and could take the hits. I'll take the decision at plus 800 for Ivan Erslan. Sprinkle. But I do dog or pass fight.
Yep. So we'll go to the main event. With that being said, we have Carlos Ulberg taking on Dominic Reyes. So
Yo, Mike, I gotta go, so let me just give
yeah,
my prediction for this fight really quick.
and then yeah,
I think,
then give me
I
your
think,
podcast pick then, your collab pick.
okay, all right. I think Carlos Ulberg is gonna absolutely destroy Dominic Reyes, but I do think Dominic Reyes is live for a KO. It's either Dominic Reyes is gonna win by KO, or Carlos Ulberg is gonna absolutely do whatever he wants and win by KO or decision. I just can't put my finger on it for that. And it's either a KO or a decision for him. It depends if Dominic Reyes like gets overzealous and rushes in and then gets countered and clipped, because that's how those city kickboxing guys fight. Calm, cool, collected, counter strike you. Wait till they land a big strike. They don't really pressure you or anything. So I think if Reyes comes in crazy, he's gonna get caught crazy. But there is potential for a Reyes first round KO. And I do think plus 205 on Reyes is actually crazy, especially with the run he's been on. I think Carlos Ulberg is more of like a minus 170 ish favorite, 160 ish. Minus 250 is pushing it. So I'm just gonna try to live bet this fight, and I might sprinkle Reyes first round KO depending on the odds. And my podcast picked my lock of the entire card. Let's see. I'm not gonna give you guys nothing juiced either.
I know you said
This,
Navajo
this,
Sterling.
yeah, I like him, but like I feel like that's minus 245. I'll leave that pick for one of you guys because I do think he's a lock for the. I don't know, bro. 90% of the bread is on Navajo Sterling. I hope some bullshit doesn't happen. You know what I mean? I do think he's a lock. I do think he knocks him out, but I just hope some weird shit doesn't happen. Like I do think he's guaranteed a lock though. I don't know. I want to give you guys a better pick though. More on the.
My pick is Colby Thickness and Josiah Musasa not to go the. I think that shit's a lock. I think
I
one of
like
them
that.
is getting finished. That's it. And it was gonna be Navajo Sterling if not.
Listen, you could either use my Navajo Sterling pick or you could use the over 2.5 in the Micallef and Elliot fight
I don't want to
minus
bet that.
245.
I don't. I said I didn't like that. I don't. Oh, I don't want to. Yeah, I don't
You
like
know,
that.
like,
No.
all right, so we
I
could
think that
go with
Micallef
Navajo.
can get it
Wait,
finished.
what's your pick, High Your luck.
I like Reyes and Ulberg to start round 2 minus 290. I think it was.
Minus
That's
270.
actually that's
Yeah,
actually
minus
a good
270.
bet. Okay, we could do that. So then we'll take Navajo Sterling and make it safe.
That's what you're
Fuck
picking,
it.
Navajo
We
Sterling.
we yeah, we'll win. We'll win this week.
Hope so. So we have.
We will.
Hope so. We have
Navajo.
Navajo. Um. The round 2 to start in Carlos Ulberg versus Dominic Reyes, and then I have Colby Thickness and Josiah Musasa not to go the distance. Minus 144. That on FanDuel is plus 221. I'm putting it
I
in.
got it's plus 212 on DraftKings.
Yeah, so plus 221 on FanDuel right there on that 3-legger. I'll say it one more time. Fight not to go the distance in Thickness Musasa. Round 2 start, yes. And Carlos Ulberg versus Dominic Reyes, and then Navajo Sterling moneyline. 3-legger, Mo, Hot Hand, and Moneyline Mike. Lock that in.
All right, I'm gonna leave it to you guys to finish
Yeah,
up
close
the
it out. We'll
breakdown
pretty
for this
much close
fight.
it up. We'll close it out with you. Thanks for joining as always, guys, and hopefully we'll see you guys at the counter. Peace out.